is the practice page for section 4.3 on transversals and corresponding angles. Just like on the last video, we're looking for congruent angle pairs. So what is congruent to angle 13 in this picture? There are two parallel lines. These ones are not necessarily parallel, so they're going to act as a transversal. So what angle is congruent to angle 13? Well, I don't want to block off the parallel lines. So looking here, angle 15 is vertical to it, angle 7 is alternate interior, and angle 5 is corresponding with it. So that's the reason. Give a reason for each. So angle 15 is vertical, angle 7 is alternate interior, and angle 5 is corresponding. We'll do the same thing. We're going to look at number 2. Which angles are congruent to angle 12? Well, I'm going to cover up a line. It just makes things easier. The angle vertical to it is angle 10. So they're definitely congruent. And then the angle that corresponds to it is angle 4. And the angle that's alternate exterior, is angle 2. So remember, two parallel lines and a transversal. There's going to be 4 acute angles. They're all congruent. There's going to be 4 obtuse angles. They're all congruent. So these are your, it's really hard to tell on there whether that's acute or obtuse because it kind of looks like a right angle. But those 4 are congruent. Okay, we're going to skip down to this next section. Find the measure of each numbered angle. We're going to look at number 7. And there's a lot of lines here. And there's a lot of lines that you don't need. So really what you should do is keep the parallel ones and then kind of block off one of the lines that you don't need. Like for example, I'll block this one off. So this automatically makes the diagram easier because there's only 3 lines. So here's your 2 parallel ones. This 32-degree angle and this angle 3 are consecutive interior. So we know they add up to 180. So this guy's going to be 148 degrees. And then this angle 4 is vertical to that. So it's going to be 148 degrees also. Now, you're not done with the problem yet. We still have another transversal to look at. So cover up that transversal. Again, you have your parallel lines and a new transversal. This 115-degree angle and this angle 2, move my hand there, those are corresponding angles. And to double check yourself, isn't angle 1 alternate interior? So they're the same as well. And notice how these guys are vertical. Okay, so that's how you tackle problems with multiple lines. If you have 4 or more lines, you need to start crossing lines off. If the covering up thing works, fine. If it doesn't, you should probably redraw your pictures, like we've done in some of the other videos. Let's look at number 11. It's important to be able to read this geometry. If the measure of angle 8 is 2x plus 2, that's this guy. I'm not going to write him in there because, again, we're going to change it for number 12. Angle 6, that's this guy, is 4x minus 40. They want you to figure out what x is and then figure out what the measures of those angles are. Well, these 2 angles are corresponding angles. And that's really, really important. Now, let me tell you another thing that's really, really important. You're not going to be able to solve this unless you know that there's parallel lines. And it doesn't tell you that any lines are parallel here. That's a major, major mistake. They also don't tell you that any lines are parallel in the diagram. Again, a major mistake. If these lines are not parallel, this crap here means nothing. Okay, so that's an error on the book. You can't actually solve anything unless you know these lines are parallel. So let's just pretend for a second that they are, that they really should have put those on there. If these lines are parallel, what do you know about corresponding angles? Well, you know they need to be congruent. So even though you don't know what these are, you know they're the same as each other. That's the important part. So 4x minus 40 and 2x plus 2 need to be the same. We'll solve for x. We'll subtract 2x from both sides, and then we'll add 40 to both sides. Divide by 2. There's your x value. Just because you know x doesn't mean you know the angle measures. The angle measures are not 21 degrees. What you do is you get a calculator and you plug that x value in. So we know that angle 8 is 2 times 21 plus 2. And we know that angle 6 is 4 times 21 minus 40. You better get the same answer, and you do. Those are your angle measures, 44 degrees. So x is 21, and these two angles are 44 degrees. Number 12 is the same type of problem. You're not going to be able to do it unless the lines are parallel, so we just made them parallel. Look at angle 1, look at angle 5. They give you a measure for both of those. Measure of angle 1 equals 6x minus 2. Measure of angle 5 equals 4x plus 38. Find x and find the measures of the angles. Well, look at angle 1 and angle 5. Those are alternate exterior angles. They need to be congruent because the lines are parallel. So set them equal. You don't know what these are, but you know they're equal to each other. Solve that equation for x and plug it back in just like we did with that one.